Oh, oh boy, it's gonna be one of those days, huh? Everybody, welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space where we set oppression ablaze. And I hope this is a safe space where you all can hear me and see me loudly and clearly. I hope that this is working because y'all, Tunde has the day off. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What in the world ever shall I do? So I don't even know if we are actually live and rocking and rolling right now. That would be awesome if we were. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone and I'm trying to be smooth and do this with some relative seamlessness. But I am literally pooping my pants right now as we speak because what am I doing here? I don't even know what's going on. But hopefully, there we go. Okay, I just put it up on my phone and there I am talking. Lovely. Okay, good. And I see you guys in the chat. Come through, chat. What's up, Savvy Sav? What's going on, Franny Francais? We got Vesper X in here. My girl Alice is here. Come through, everybody. Infinite Content, thank you so much for being here. Imani is here. Court is here. Ariana is here. Paul D, come through. I'm so happy. Okay, that's nice to know. Paul D. See, this is what happens when you shout out new niggas and you don't know who the fuck they are. But listen, I want to welcome everybody to the program. I'm so grateful that you all are here and joining me today. As I mentioned, Tunde is off. So we're going to see how this goes. My guest is running a few minutes late, so we're going to give her a few minutes to come on in, but I didn't want to keep you all waiting because I know we had some technical difficulties happen on Tuesday and y'all didn't get y'all proper show. And for that, I do apologize. And I think I said this on the community page. It was probably them alphabet boys doing big fuckery would be my guess. Would be my guess. But this has already been a ridiculous week full of all kinds of news. And even though today was not going to be a news day per se, like a news show day per se, we're going to talk about a topic here, the topic of Black femicide in America, because it is a very difficult subject to discuss, right? And because at the end of the day, there's some acknowledgments of some certain truths that have to be said. And a lot of times people don't want to say those things aloud because they feel as though it might be portraying some folks in a bad light. Well, when we look at how gender-based violence and intimate personal violence, intimate partner violence works, rather, I mean, these things are always in intraracial. Yes, like white women are more likely to get beat on by white men. Asian women are more likely to get beat on by Asian men. And that is obviously extends out to the Black community as well. So Rosa Page is my guest tonight. She's not with us yet. I hope Rosa is able to join us because I really am excited and feel as though this is a topic that needs to be broached with a healthcare professional, which Rosa is, and she has been documenting Black femicide for the past few years. And there is a march to bring awareness to Black femicide coming up this summer here in Washington, D.C., I believe. And I want to shout out to Talisha Conklin because Talisha, member of the Fire Fam, obviously, and patron of the show. Talisha said, Kim, you need to be in touch with this issue and speak about it and have some conversation about it. So I don't want to get too deep in it until Rose is able to join us, which I hope is going to be really soon. But in the interim, you guys, I want to take a moment to, for one, shout out our own Molly Shaw. If you guys didn't check her out, Molly was on Katie Halper's show this week. talking about obviously the Dobbs versus Jackson's Women Health Organization decision, the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Molly's a bad bitch out here. Y'all need to go check out Molly. Molly knows what the fuck she's talking about, particularly when it comes to reproductive justice. And Molly is basically taking the lead on which abortion funds, which on the ground abortion funds that the channel, that the show, the platform is going to start supporting this month. So the first Tuesday show of every month, starting July, we're going to announce a grassroots abortion fund, especially those in now newly abortion restrictive states where the trigger laws have already kicked in. Even though, by the way, shout out to some judges. Have y'all seen the judges? It's three states now, yes, where judges have interceded in making sure that these restrictive abortion bans, these trigger laws, don't go directly into place. Louisiana, Utah, and was it Florida? So some judges out here apparently got some goddamn sense. So shout out to the activist judges on the right side of the barricades, trying to make sure that women retain bodily autonomy and the right to decide what they want to do with their bodies at any point in time that they so choose. So that is important. Is that just thinking? See, again, I am afraid here of what I am doing on this broadcast because I am not so good at it, and I don't really know what I'm doing. Hey, Rosa, are you there? How can I hear you?
Stay.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hold on. We got a little echo going on. Do me a favor. If you have the show on in the background, turn that down. Turn that down for me. Let's try this again.
I
Okay.
turned it down.
There we go. And if you want to keep your camera off, I'm okay with
Yeah, I'm
that.
going to keep my camera off because I'm supposed to be, getting ready for work. I'm a nurse. I work 12 hours and I'm trying to get myself together. But I'm going to take time out to do this interview.
Okay, well, I certainly appreciate that, Rosa. So, guys, we are being joined today with Rosa Page. Rosa is a mother of four. She is a healthcare professional, a registered nurse. For how long have you been a nurse, Rosa?
32 years this past January.
32 years. Well, we thank you very much for your service, for all that you've done, keeping people healthy and alive. And Rosa is also an independent femicide researcher, and she is the founder. I think that's safe to say, Rosa,
Yes.
of Black Femicide America. And you guys can find Black Femicide America on Twitter at Black Femicide US. And Rosa, it sounds like you have a lot going on behind you, but I'm so glad that you're able to
That's
make
okay.
time.
That's my
Uh,
granddaughter.
it's okay to join us today. We love the babies. We love the babies. And Rosa, femicide is defined as the murder of women and girls as a hate crime, as the murder of women and girls as a hate crime because they are female by males. And we, on occasion, in the US, especially in the mainstream media, we will hear stories about femicide, usually in other places. We hear about Brazilian femicide, or we hear about femicide that happened that probably is still ongoing in South Sudan. But very seldom do we hear or even discuss the way that femicide plays out in the United States, specifically in the Black community. Let me ask you first and foremostly, before we get into some of the data that you've collected and some of your methodologies, can you please tell us what even drew you to start documenting the rates that Black women were murdered at in the US?
Okay. Someone said I didn't want to show my face. That's not really the reality, but I, have a lot going on in my background, and it is what it is. And but you can see me all over other social media platforms and interviews I've done. Right now, you always want to put your best foot forward, and I prefer to put not to show myself when I don't have myself, best foot forward.
Which is
But
understandable, by the
right,
way. And I have no issue with that because again, you're not hiding who you are. You are out here on these internets, but she's a woman
Yeah,
getting ready to go to work, everybody. She's trying to get herself together and she's making
yeah,
time to do this. So
yeah.
I
And,
appreciate it,
and,
Rosa.
and,
You are
and they
fine with
want to
me.
really see who I am. I've done many media, interviews with MSNBC, CNN, Washington Post, The Guardian. So, and you can even go to my page and you'll see me, pictures from the march in Atlanta. If it's that important, but I am a Black woman. Okay. Now, with that being said, what drew me to this is that in 2015, I saw that the FBI, that was the last time they really updated their data on women being murdered in the United States. And at that time in 2015, they were saying one woman every 19 hours was being murdered. I actually knew that was not true. So I said, as a healthcare professional, I know with the community, I saw more murders of women happening within the Black community at a higher rate. And when the FBI says every 19 hours, that meant across the board, Black, white, Asian, what have you, in the United States. And even that number, when you look at all women across the board, common sense kind of tells you that that's not true because of the domestic violence rate in all communities. So, anyway, I started anecdotally at that time, collecting the data with patients that I would have to admit. When we admit patients or have encounters with patients, we go over a history. And when you go over that history, one of the questions is about violence, whether it's you or someone in your immediate circle, be that family or friends. And I would say close to 80 to 90% of my Black patients, Black women and girls, they would all have the same answer. Yes, they either were victims of abuse themselves or they knew someone who was a victim of domestic violence
Mhm.
or a victim of femicide. And words are very important. So when I say femicide, I'm talking specifically about the homicide of women and girls, because as I said, words are important. Homicide, the Latin prefix homo, we know means man. So it's very important to use the word femicide so we can stay on topic and be explicit about who we are talking about. So, fast forward, I'm collecting the data, and I knew myself that it wasn't true, that it was every 19 hours. I knew that the time was
How did you know that wasn't true, Rosa? Like, I mean, I know you said that based on your experience as a nurse, but even every 19 hours seems like a very high rate of murders of women, and even still instinctively you said that was inaccurate. And this is federal data that you were referencing at the time that you felt intuitively was false or
yeah,
inaccurate.
yeah. I just knew it because I knew from the encounters with my own patients, with the sector of patients that I was seeing. So I started, researching, and it's independent research. I have no financial backing from any type of institution, government grants, or anything. This is purely done on my own dime. So, and thought that it was important that I was a Black woman doing this because, of course, we know in the community the Black community is very suspicious of outsiders. They're very wary of the government agencies and other entities that are non-Black. So again, this was something that I was doing strictly because it piqued my interest, and also I'm a Black woman, and this was something that I would be giving back to the community eventually. So that's
Hmm.
why it was important. And so again, So with collecting the data in 2015, I was actually within our community, I was actually able to cut that time down to like every 10 hours in the Black community specifically. And I'm still going to say that every 19 hours across the board was still a very inaccurate number. But anyway, specifically in our community, I cut it down to every 10 hours.
So every 10
Um,
hours, a black woman doesn't just die, but she is murdered in
yeah, we're
America.
talking about murder uh, by any means, whether that's strangulation, um, drowning, arson, being run over by cars, knifing, anything you can think of. These are the different ways that Black women become victims of femicide. So in 2015, like I said, in our community specifically, was every 10 hours. So I started, just yearly doing a yearly census of this. We get to around 2019, and it had went down to every 8 hours. So at that time, when it went down to every 8 hours, I started taking to social media and using the hashtag every 8 hours because it was significant. And I said, you know what, this is something that's important. I can't keep quiet. I can't sit on this information. So that's when I just created social media accounts so that I could start posting it. I needed to sound the alarm.
So did you notice a
So yeah,
pattern from whence you started collecting the data in 2015? So here we are, almost 7 years later. From 2015 onward, have the numbers and the rates of Black femicide victims remained constant, or have we seen any fluctuation? Clearly, there must have been some fluctuation if you increased the frequency in which a black woman is murdered in America to up to every 8 hours now. What did your findings tell you about that?
that and I know that we talk about racial justice, and some of the things that I'm going to say are going to, probably, as they say, trigger people and kind of, it's reality. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about being real and just being honest about what's going on in the community. The spikes started increasing. We can discuss COVID numbers, and we or the issue of COVID being an issue because people started being locked down and being in the home. A lot of times, people who are victims of abuse, the outlets that they have are going to work, and being able to come and go from the home, kind of getting a reprieve from the violence in their home. But of course, when you put people in a lockdown situation where they're with their abuser, the rates uh, definitely increased. But when I talk about the racial issues as it relates to sentencing and whatnot, this is where uh, people in the community start to kind of have an issue. So when we start talking about low to no bail, very light sentencing guidelines, uh, allowing people out into the community who have a long history of violence, these spikes start occurring. I do know that, sentencing is a very, very touchy subject. Uh, Financial and with the bail and everything, these are real issues. I will never say that systemic racism is not a problem. that those issues do not exist. Okay. But um, we have to look at how it actually impacts victims of violence.
So talk to me about those numbers because I think people in the audience have questions about literally like how many black women have been murdered, I guess year over year since you've been collecting your data.
Oh my goodness. The Guardian actually just released an updated article that I did in last year. Um, Unfortunately, we are every 5 hours now. According to the CDC, 1,821 Black women and girls had been murdered across the United States in 2020. That data is actually higher than the FBI's, which the FBI actually said that year it was 1,440. I myself had recorded 1,189. Now, the reason you're going to see the difference in the numbers is this. I'm one woman. I collect this information. I don't have access and resources like someone like the FBI or CDC. But with that being said, I was 271 off from the FBI's number. And the FBI is actually off by 300, like 300, 700, I mean, 372,
Mm-hmm.
according to the CDC. The reason that I have to talk about this is because um, uh, legal law enforcement agencies are not mandated reporters. So they do not have to report their findings to the FBI. It is actually a courtesy that they turn those numbers in. The reason some jurisdictions won't hand those numbers over again has to do with a narrative. If I'm the mayor of a town that, I want to draw people to my town for tourism or relocation, to entice corporations to build, I don't want to put those numbers out. I do not want to make it seem as though this might be a place where violence is starting to spike. So I won't turn those numbers over to the FBI. Okay.
Well, I can tell you, Rosa, on this channel, we have a baseline news philosophy of not really believing the police or law enforcement or
And
casting
that,
grand
and I
aspersions
understand.
and great doubts and skepticism about anything that they say. So even though the CDC's reputation is a bit in tatters at the moment, I think for the purposes of probably of this conversation between your numbers and what the CDC has reported, we can assume some good intentions and some accuracy in trying to get the most clear picture of what black femicide looks like in the US. So I appreciate you saying that, that law enforcement might fudge the numbers. They absolutely would fudge the numbers, and
Yeah,
there we won't even challenge nor
yeah,
dispute that because
yeah.
that's our baseline understanding.
That's why I have to put it out there. And this is a reason that people in the Black community they have a viable reason as to distrust these agencies. So again, that's why it was important for me to do it as a Black woman, because I have I feel that it's my duty to my community to put this information out there.
Hmm.
Now, when we talk about the CDC, although it is a governmental agency, it works a bit differently than the FBI because healthcare professionals are mandated reporters. So there's no skin in the game for a doctor or nurse or social worker, medical examiner. They are mandated reporters of these crimes. So um, the CDC's numbers will actually be more accurate than a law enforcement agency, because we know that they have nefarious reasons for what it is that they're doing. So again,
And you
so
sorry, so I'm sorry, one more time. That CDC number was 1821,
and 21.
and this is in the year 2020. So
Yes.
that roughly breaks down to about almost 152 Black women murdered every month. And when you
Yes.
do that, break it down via week to week in 2020, that comes out to, on average, about 35 Black women a week were murdered in the year 2020. Those numbers are horrific sounding, especially when you put them in that kind of perspective. I mean,
Yes.
35 Black women a week. That sounds like insanity. So, what do these women, from your research, like the kinds of similarities these women share beyond being Black women, is there a geographical concentration? Do you see more Black femicide in certain parts of the country than others?
That's a very good question. And yes, I do. Um, the Midwest has typically, they have a high rate. But, and I'm going to say Midwest states that border the southern states
Hmm.
tend to have a high rate. And of course, southern areas definitely have a higher rate of violence than the rest of the country. I can tell you that Wisconsin, Missouri, Kentucky, and Arkansas are the worst states right now for Black women and girls.
Mm.
They're the worst states. Um, that that 1,821 was actually a 30% increase of femicide against Black women and girls. That was a 30% increase from the previous year. Now we come behind Black men. The increase of violence against Black men was 34%.
Hmm.
And then when you break it down with other women, it was a 7% increase for Latina women and a 15% increase of violence for white women. Now, of that 1,821, 75% or three quarters of victims were victims of gun violence, gunshot wounds.
Jeez. Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes. So there is, well, we do talk about it, but we know that we have a gun violence problem. So even, that three quarters, although it's very shocking, it's not surprising, because this is America and we have a problem. We know. I am, now, don't get me wrong, I am a staunch advocate of your Second Amendment rights. I do believe that. But I think that we have to change the paradigm and do something as it relates to these guns. I mean, I know the genie is out of the bottle. I would never say just like go ahead and take all the guns off the street. Tell the citizens to give their guns back. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that we need to address this issue. Now,
Undoubtedly.
okay, and I'm also going to break it down further by percentage. 50% of those 1,821 women and girls,
Hmm.
50% of them knew their perpetrator.
And define what you mean by new.
Okay, and that 50% can be broken down like this: 20% was an acquaintance, neighbor, co-worker, somebody that they knew, not on an intimate level, but it was someone that they knew, family, friend, what have you. The other 20% was intimate partner violence.
Hmm.
And by intimate partner violence, I'm talking husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, because women do kill each other as well, but I'm breaking down these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, ex lovers, ex boyfriends, ex husbands, and then that 10% was uh, family related. So, and the other 50%, we can just they're unknown or random, because even with some of those, the other 50%, you know, sometimes you just don't know because their perpetrator has never been caught. So, that's how that number is actually broken down. And I'm very, someone made a comment, Comrade Kwame made a comment that these folks have historical and mental backgrounds and we can't predict, but we can tell when all the pieces, I like that what he's saying, are there. And that's why we need community after school programs, etc. I'm so glad that he brought up mental health, because I'm a behavioral nurse specialist. So I work in mental health. I do want to get this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when we talk about mental health, let's not conflate this issue and say that all of these perpetrators have a history of mental illness, because we're doing a disservice to those
Actually have mental illness.
who
Yes.
actually have mental illness, and they're not going out here doing that. Most people who suffer from mental illness are actually more of a threat to themselves than they are to others. So we really need to stop conflating it, because I'm seeing far too many people using mental illness as a scapegoat for why these crimes are happening. And that's not true across the board. Yes, and folks with mental illnesses usually are more likely to be a victim, or they're more harm to themselves than others. I'm not saying that mental illness is an issue in the community that should be ignored. We definitely need to just talk about it, and let people know that mental illness, and this is how I describe mental illness. Mental illness is just like any other illness in the body. It's just of the mind. You can't see it. You would not tell somebody with diabetes, high blood pressure, and other physical maladies, you wouldn't tell them to just pray on it
Hmm.
and leave it at that. You have to address it. So mental illness should be approached in the same way we approach other maladies in the body.
So Rosa, okay, so let's stick with these 2020 numbers, because I think that simplifies the conversation a bit. Because
Yes, ma'am.
if we're talking about half of the women, the 1,821 women who were murdered, black women who were murdered in 2020, if 50% of them knew their murderer, so we're talking over 900 women had some sort of relationship, either acquaintance, familial, or romantic, current or former romantic partner, had some sort of relationship or dealings with their murderer. Who is murdering black women, Rosa?
I mean, we know. Okay. Let's talk. I'm gonna say family because I feel comfortable.
Go
So
ahead,
let's
feel
talk.
comfortable.
Let's talk family. We know what proximity related crimes are. We have no problem saying that white men kill white women. We have no problem saying that other people kill one another. So when we start talking about ourselves, we got to put that mirror in front of us. We are black men primarily are killing black women. Okay, we need to put that out there. Uh, I do not like, because yes, again, I'm not denying racism and hate crimes, of race-based hate crimes. Okay, I'm not denying that, but the overwhelming majority are black men, because it's proximity. But the problem is we're killing each other at a higher rate. than the majority of people in this country. So that is an issue. We need to start discussing what's going on in the community. I do know that, there are a lot of different communities out there. I'm not I'm not dismissing these other communities and groups. I'm not. I'm sure some of your YouTube community are familiar with the divestment community, Black
Well,
women.
don't assume, honey, because I had no clue what the divestment
Okay.
community was until you explained it to me. So please,
Oh,
but hold on, what before you get into that, Rosa, and I think what you're about to get into is extremely valid. But just for clarity's sake, uh, for the audience's sake, the numbers that Rosa has compiled of Black femicide is cisgender Black women. That her numbers do not include Black trans women for a specific reason, because those murders are another subset of hate crime, right? So the issues of violence against LGBTQIA plus people, particularly within the Black community. Rosa has chosen to not include those numbers in her Black femicide numbers, and to me it makes sense because I think that Black trans women, number one, are killed at even higher rates than I think that Black cisgender women are, and that the community is within our community, but definitely distinct with their own distinct challenges, and those who target them for violence and murder and assault as well. So I just wanted to just make that clear for the audience. But Rosa's about to tell us about the divestors, which again, I had never heard of the divestors before yesterday. And I know why I hadn't heard of them, Rosa, because they sound goofy. But you please explain to the people who the divestors are.
the divestors. I want to clear it up. Years ago, when divestment started, it was really about Black women leaving everything behind that was toxic. That meant toxic families, toxic friends, toxic communities, and what have you. But as we know, things evolve and change. Now it's become a community of Black women who feel that they can find solace in other communities. Me personally, this is just me personally. I'm not a dating coach, I'm not a relationship expert. I don't really care who uh, people choose to date, mate, and marry. I'm focused on crimes within the Black community against Black women and girls. I have an issue because people are in that particular community, and I'm not against them. Do what you will. This is a free country, but I don't like when people try to use my numbers to fit their agenda, which is to say, because Black women are being killed primarily by Black men at this high rate. This is the data that supports why you should do this. Okay.
And what you mean
I'm
by
not,
this is are the divestors, the divestment community is a community of Black women who have chosen to date outside of their race, but to the down putting of Black men. And Rosa has found that the women is as a part of this divestment community, the divestors will take her data and manipulate it and use it as reasons as why Black women should not date Black men any further because of these high rates of violence. I mean, the violence is indeed real, but I mean, don't think that your white man won't hit you too. He very well may, but that is besides the point. But I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate you trying to make that distinction
yeah.
and explaining the ways in which your data can be used for other agendas.
And even today, the or yesterday, the root. actually copy pasted the article from the Guardian, but they took out my information, and they're trying to make femicide appear as though it is about police brutality and things of that nature. So again, people are using my data to push their own agenda. My data is specific to our community so that those who want to do something can do something. Because this is what I say: people are going to be with who they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we know this. Black men, black women, they're going to be with whoever they want to. But the reality is, the vast majority of black women and black men are going to be with
With each
other black men and black women.
other. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's reality. Whether if you're sovereign, like I myself, I call myself sovereign because I am, I center myself. I don't put anyone, any man, up on a pedestal, because at this point, all present a danger. And I'm not trying to make it seem any other way, but just understand, I don't feel that I can find solace over there just because I'm not getting it over here. Danger is present no matter who you choose to be with. That's what I really want to say. You need to just be use extreme prejudice with whomever you choose to be with,
Mm-hmm.
because your safety and well being should be at the top list of your priorities. As I always say, I want Black women to be happy, healthy, safe, and sane, however that looks like for her. But do not think for one moment that the grass is greener on the other side. Okay. So that's what I want to, want people, to know. You can be a Black woman, Black man who goes your own way. You can be sovereign. You can be divested. I don't care. What I really care about is that we have a problem in our community,
Yes,
and
that's
nobody
exactly what
wants
I,
to talk
I
about it.
precisely, because at the end of the day, like you said, most black people, black women, black men are going to be with each other, right? Hetero, straight, bi, whatever dynamic of the relationship is, black people are overwhelmingly are going to choose one another, inshallah, right? But at the same time, we have to understand that this is a very difficult conversation to have when it comes to black femicide, because even though I'm glad that you noted earlier in the conversation that yes, there are some same-sex intimate partner violence that occurs between black women, the majority of the black women who are murdered by men, and a lot of our communities do not like to have this conversation. This is a very awkward conversation, and like you said, sometimes there's a lot of gaslighting and there's a lot of deflection. Well, white men kill white women, and Latinos kill Latinas, and it's a lot of what about them, what about them, what about us? And that's the part of the reason I wanted to have you here, Rosa, because I want us to be honest about what is happening, what the numbers reflect, and what solutions possibly that we can come up with, or just some simple acknowledgments, just so we can push the conversation further. So what are some things that the data told you that perhaps you weren't expecting, or that you found completely unsurprising at all?
Uh, Unfortunately, I did not find the high rates of violence against us. I did not find that as a shock. I wasn't shocked by it, because crimes against women no matter who you are and where you are, those types of crimes are just not really publicized, especially if you are a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you have, uh, if you're white, blonde, and blue eyed, and have that pretty aesthetic, you'll see that that person, that woman, splattered across media on a rotating 24-hour cycle. I can think about Natalie Holloway. You know, before there was Gabby Petito, there was Natalie Holloway. And with Natalie Holloway, you know, they still talk about Natalie Holloway. Not that her story should be ignored, but they're constantly still talking about her. When we have Black women who have been just killed, and it's like um, a woman, and a lot of times they
Mm-hmm.
won't even say a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
A woman was killed in Chicago. Her perpetrators were not caught. Investigators are still investigating, and then they start talking about, you know, the weather. So you don't know who she is. I have to track down who these women are a great many times. I have to track down who they are. Okay, she was killed. This a woman was killed on this day. Who is she?
Mm-hmm.
Who was she? She was a person. She deserves her humanity. There was a time when I would say, well, she was a mother of four, you know, a caretaker, this, that, and the other. A lot of times, I had, well, not a lot of times, but I kind of drifted away from doing that. Although I tracked that data about, you know, who she was as a person, you know, I feel that even saying she was a mother still takes away her humanity. Now, that's not to say that mothering is not an important thing. What I'm saying is, before we were mothers, we were women and girls with hopes, dreams, hobbies, passions, wants, and desires. So to just uh, compact somebody down to their mothering or caretaking once again makes Black women look as though we are only good for
Mm-hmm.
what we do for others and the utilitarian purposes that we serve. I feel it's very important to, you know, show who she was as a person. She
So,
went to college.
mm-hmm.
You know, it's very important to put her humanity out there.
And not be reductive and sort of describing her in a way that accommodates the very frenetic nature of the news cycle, right? I mean, as someone who has worked in news, I understand how the news operates, and there's a bunch of 30-second stories, a bunch of 45-second stories, some stories are 2 minutes, and depending on what the news of the day is, that 30-second story could be about the murder of that Black woman, and 30 seconds is all they're going to give it, right? And that is, again, further emblematic of the ways in which Black women are devalued in our society generally. Like, our murders are not even worthy of deep investigation or even sufficient reporting. But Rose, I want to come back to your numbers of 2020, because I'm curious again how these demographics break down within those numbers. So do you track your data via age range, like in 2020, out of the
Mm,
1,821 women that were murdered? How did that break down via
mm.
via age range? And I guess even do you
I
distinguish
do.
among marital status as well?
Um, a lot. I don't. I do record all of that information,
Mm-hmm.
but I do record the ages.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the women that are murdered in the Black community are between the ages of, I go to say 16 to 35-ish. And we're talking about women in their childbearing ages. So again, family, we gotta put that out there. When we talk about genocide, I don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. I'm not really going to have that abortion conversation, but
No.
it appears to me that another way to deflect from what's going on in our community with these murders, I see that Black men will try to deflect and talk about abortion.
I don't want to hear
And
nothing from Black men about, I want to hear nothing from no men. Don't even have to be Black men. No men about abortion, especially at the rates of Black women maternal mortality. Like, cut that out. Like, we exclude abortion out of this if we're not going to discuss about how many Black women die while pregnant or die while giving birth or die within the first year after giving birth. Like that, we have to exclude. I mean, don't be distracted by no foolishness. If there's foolishness in the chat, there should not be no
oh no,
foolishness in
no,
the
no.
chat, everybody.
No, but the reason I want to bring that up is because a lot of times I will see the deflection of Black men trying to deflect by bringing up abortion. Just a second.
Guys, I appreciate you all being patient here because y'all see, I told y'all Tunde is off and I'm looking at the chat sparingly. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And I'm not sure how many we have in here rocking with us live right now. We're doing well. Thank you, 95 people. Thank you, Latif. Thank you, Latif, for your super chat and for your cash app. If anybody else ran us some super chats, I'm sorry. I cannot dribble and chew gum at the same time. So you guys are just gonna have to be patient. Okay,
Now,
Rosa, you're back. Go ahead.
yeah, I want to go back to when we have this conversation a lot of times about genocide. Black men love to bring up about abortion. But if you're killing women in their childbearing ages, that's genocide. When you murder a Black woman or girl, that is genocide. And you are killing generations with just that one. So if we're going to have a genocide discussion, we need to talk about that. We're not going to deflect because we're talking about lives that are here. Why are we so dismissive when we're talking about this? We are dismissive about the lives that are here. And we're not, I just find that to be just very suspect because, again, it's a deflective technique and I'm just not here for it.
Well, because obviously this is a conversation that is very uncomfortable for Black people to have specifically because allegedly the Black woman is the foundation of our community, our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties. Black women are so integral to how Black people are are able to function generationally, right? I mean, if it wasn't, and again, I'm not trying to take nothing away from the brothers, but y'all know what I'm saying is correct here now. If it wasn't for Black women holding shit down, pardon me, Rosa, if it wasn't for us holding it down, we would probably be in a worser state, as my grandmother would say, a worser state than we are right now, right? So as a Black woman, and I told Rosa this in our conversation, and I've shared this with the audience, guys, I am a survivor of domestic violence. And like I told you, Rosa, last night, I mean, but for the grace of God, go I. When my abuser, my former abuser, when he choked me, he told me straight up, I could kill you right now. And I believed him. He was not mistaken. He was correct. So I understand how in an instant, you can instantly become a victim, not just of the domestic violence, but you can be murdered. A man can take your life in a second, okay? And this was a man who looked like me, a man who was in community with me, okay? And I know that I'm not the only one. There are a lot of DV survivors out here, but tragically, year after year, in the year 2020, 1,800 of us did not survive. Okay, we were murdered, we were taken, we were stolen from here, and that number needs to go down to zero as quickly as possible. So Rosa, Whew, I mean, your information is so deep, and I'm curious. And I know that you said that you've spoken about your research on a lot of different media outlets, and it's great that that information is getting out there and being widely disseminated. But in terms of organizations within the community that directly speak to Black people and specifically Black men, have organizations that cater to Black men, let's say that, have these organizations ever reached out to you to have you come either present your information or talk about your findings in trying to drill down to the root of what is driving this Black femicide issue in the United States? Have Black male led organizations reached out to you in that way?
No, no, they have not, because this is a very touchy subject. And I get it, I understand, but we have to have this conversation. It is not fair. You are overlooking 50% of the community because it's an uncomfortable topic. Even Black women who are killed as a result of domestic violence, I mean, of police brutality,
Hmm.
even they don't really get talked about.
That's
You
right.
know, we're still dealing with the issue of Tatiana Jefferson. Her case still has not went to court. It's still another delay after delay after delay. So let's not play this game that we look at each other equally, because we don't.
Hmm.
So no, they don't want to talk about it. Now that's not to say that I have not spoke with Black men, because I have. There are a few Black men out there who have approached me, and I've done interviews with them, and they seem very earnest and sincere. But I'm going to tell you, this is the reality, folks. Um, the Black community and our Black political leaders in particular are very hands off. They're very hands off when it comes to this subject, primarily because of who is doing the killing. People are too concerned with optics. That's the issue that I see, that people are too concerned with optics. Okay. And if you want to get to the root of the problem, you're going to have to push your pride aside and get down to brass tacks. We cannot come to a solution if we're not willing to openly discuss this. If you want to discuss it privately, publicly, I don't care. We need to be discussing this. We cannot continue to put our head in the sand and think that it's just going to go away, because a lot of times we know that that's what we do in the Black community. We want to pray it away, we want to ignore it, and we just flat out just want to be dismissive about it, just hoping that the problem will go away. And like with anything, like with any festering wound, if you ignore it, it's going to grow and become an infection all over your body. And so, what we're dealing with now is a malignant tumor that needs to be excised yesterday. So,
Out of the whew, you get there's a lot to unpack there, because I'm glad individually some brothers will approach you and have conversations with you. But I mean, this if this is a community wide problem, which I think everybody is in agreement that it is, then it needs to be addressed community wide. It's cool to have one-on-one conversations, but no, this needs to be widespread discussions. Like, everybody needs to have a part to say and play in this, because men have to play a part in this too, right? Because I hear what you're saying, Rosa, about part of the reason Black men don't want to talk about it is because of optics and because it makes Black men look bad, etc. But we have to be able to frame the conversation in ways that, we are not attacking Black men. We are not attacking all Black men. We are attacking the abusive, murderous Black men. And the issue that I've encountered and seen is that too often these abusers, these monsters, are protected. They are protected. Nobody wants to put their business out there. Even in some cases, protected by the victims themselves. The survivors of the abuse themselves will protect their abusers. And I know, and I've said this on lots of platforms, and I'm gonna say it again. Like, I know lots of survivors of rape, sexual assault, and domestic violence, but somehow a lot of my brothers don't seem to know no abusers. And there's a big disconnect there. There's a giant chasm of people, women who are experiencing this abuse versus men who claim that they themselves are not abusers or they don't know any abusers. Oh, I don't know. That's not none of my friends, my cousins, my frat brothers. That's not how we get down. Well, somebody is beating us. Somebody is killing us, right? At the end of the day. And it's not white men riding in Klan robes on the back of pickup trucks coming into Black areas to assault and murder Black women, by and large.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. That's why I say we have to be honest and know that these are crimes that we're committing against one another. It is not it's not outsiders who are doing this. Yes, there are people from the outside who do it, but for the vast majority, just like anyone else, it's proximity related.
Are there
And we can't.
solutions, Rosa? Are there paths to eradicating this? And I know somebody in the chat brought up mental health. I mean, how big of a role does mental health play in this, in your opinion, or even substance abuse? Or, I mean, because obviously we can say foundationally that this is all a result of, the white supremacy and the colonialism and the violence that has been inflicted upon us ever since Black folks first stepped foot on this continent. And I think everybody can agree on that. But at the end of the day, I can't say that it's white supremacy killing our women. You know what I'm saying? It's a person with a name, and an identity that is killing women. So talk to me about that. What are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I mean, there it's hard to look at it, single-handedly, like what kind of approach should we be taking. But I believe because the reality is in our community, most a lot of the homes are single headed by single mothers. Um, I'm not talking about fathers who are actively engaged, whether they're married to the mother or not. I'm not talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm talking about is that a lot of these single mothers don't have assistance from the fathers. They're, you can't have a single mother without a father.
Mm-hmm.
So these men need to start being more actively engaged in their children's lives, um, and start mentoring boys, young men in the community, so we can help them figure out ways for conflict resolution, to let them know that rejection is a normal part of life. There are a lot of things that men could bring to the table. A mother is a great thing. I'm not taking away from that. But a mother is not a father, and she
Mm.
can't give a daughter or a son that influence that a positive father could give, or even a mentor, or a father figure. So there needs to be more. There needs to be more a hands-on approach. Now, when we talk about mental health, of course, this is my wheelhouse. I'm going to say this, and just bear with me. Now, mental health issues are a perfect storm of internal and external factors, mostly genetics. And, that's like mental illness tends to run in families. abuse history, substance abuse history, lower IQ, lack of achievement, family life instability, housing and financial instability. Now, the idea mostly is that the seed of mental illness is in everyone and can occur at any time,
Mhm.
but it's more likely to bloom with a blood relative who is mentally ill and is brought on by major stressors, either over time or one big occurrence or a combination of both. Mental illness is related to hormonal and chemical imbalances, and that's why it's one of the most vital and it's important to take your psych meds when prescribed. But some things cannot be fixed, namely personality disorders like borderline, narcissistic, anti-southers. But those are the top ones we see exhibited. Personality disorders are mostly created through external factors, though, like sexual abuse, neglect,
Mm.
physical and emotional abuse while young. That's why it's important to stop dealing with folks with these issues, because ultimately you cannot fix a personality that's maladapted. Signs of these maladaptive behaviors include extreme mood swings, overreactions to small inconveniences. We call those catastrophic responses in medical terms, lying, theft, lots of chaotic relationships, lots of emotional upheavals and drama in general. Now, our people tend to ignore these signs, which can result in fatal consequences. We all know people who are full of drama and chaos and will ignore them, thinking, oh, that's just how they are. When in reality, they might very well have a personality disorder.
Mm.
So it's very, very important that I distinguish that.
I appreciate you distinguishing that. And Rosa, I'm not going to hold you all night, but I know Black Femicide USA has a march planned this summer. Is it? It's next month in August. Would you mind giving us some details and telling us all about it?
Right. August 27th in DC, we will be having the march. It'll be from 9 to 2 p.m. Local time there. And we'll be having speakers, self defense thing. It's just going to be, and of course, we're going to be speaking about the femicide rate in America and how we need to come together with our politicians. And I'm going to say this: politicians respond to pressure and not praise. We need to let these politicians know that they work for us. We are taxpayers. And if they can't address the issues that we are bringing to them, like they have done with other communities, then we need to walk our votes elsewhere, okay? We can no longer let people stay in because they might say some feel good things. We can't do that. So we need to let these politicians know that it's the end of the line now. So um, that's really what the march is really going to be focusing on. I'm also going to be talking about getting a domestic violence registry, the same as we have with child or not child, but sex
Sex
offender registry.
offenders.
We need
Ooh.
to have a domestic violence registry. Every person who has been uh, tried and found guilty of domestic violence should be put on a registry, just like sex offenders. Because when you see these people with domestic violence history, they have a long history. They have a very long history. So there needs to be a registry that can be another arsenal that we use for us.
You
Now,
are shaking the table with that one, Rosa. You understand, right? You are shaking the table with that one. Like, I don't know if all these
no,
domestic abusers are ready to be
they're
on a
not
database.
they're not ready for that, but it's a way for people to arm themselves with information. I understand it might be touchy, but we need that information to arm ourselves. So, I'm sorry. I'm feelings over facts. Feelings over facts.
Say that.
And I do want to address somebody who's saying don't stigmatize cluster B personalities or whatever. I have 32 years in the game of mental health, okay? I'm not sitting up here saying stigmatize everyone who has personality disorders, but I am saying that people who have those disorders, and psychiatrists agree, those people you can't really fix them. And fix is not a good word, but that's the word that people understand. You can't fix them. What you can do is behavioral modification. That's what you can do, behavioral modification. I'm not going to try to stigmatize anyone, but we need the truth out there that in our community, we ignore personality disorders. And a lot of people ignore personality disorders in our community. Just like I said, oh, he just like that. Oh, Shine always been like that. Or, Rhonda, she been like that since she was a little kid. Just ignore her. That's
But
what
you
we
say,
do.
I mean, and I hear what you're saying when you say ignore, but I really think it's born out of, and I don't even like to say ignorance, but people may not have the language to understand what it is that they're witnessing. You know what I mean? Like if people act out or have certain behavioral tendencies, you can only describe it with the words that you have available to you. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So people may not even realize that someone what the behavior that they are demonstrating is mental health imbalance. They just think that it is just acting out. Like black folks are in our community. We have all kinds of words for what are actually mental health crises. You know what I mean? Your nerves are bad. You was acting crazy, or you was acting out,
Right,
fell out, or something.
right. That's what they do. And we have those people in our own family. Hell, I have them in my family. Oh, she just like that. And you don't talk to her for a few months, sometimes years, and then you see her again and she act like nothing happened, or they act like nothing happened. Let's stop playing. And we know that this what goes on in our families. It
Hmm.
goes on in our neighborhoods. It goes on in our communities. I'm not
Absolutely.
going to sweep this issue up under the rug and try to, like I said, it's facts over feelings. You're going to have to deal with the truth. The truth is painful.
Absolutely. Well, Rosa, I certainly appreciate you making time for us. I hope to have you on again, maybe in the week or weeks leading up to the march, so we can amplify that action and that event and get the word out, so people can turn up in DC and represent on behalf of this Black femicide issue, which is so critical and so urgent. I mean, literally, gang, this is a life or death scenario that Black women in America, women all over the country, but we talking about Black women here. You guys know this is a Black woman centered channel, so this is whom we are choosing to put the spotlight on today. So Rosa, I want to thank you so much for making some time and sharing your information and your data, and tell the people where they can find more information about the issue of Black femicide in the US and get more access to the information that you have collected.
Um, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I post daily throughout the week. There are some times when I don't post because I got to decompress. Normally on the weekends I don't post unless it's like a breaking story or some person has been arrested. But for the most part, I post daily.
Mm-hmm.
And doing accounting. As of today, I can tell you how many Black women and girls have been killed as of today,
In
and we're well
2022.
over.
Wow.
I think we're at 642. Let me look at my spreadsheet right quick. Uh, let me see. Okay, here we go. Yes, we are at 640, 643.
That's awful. I mean, these are just staggering and sobering and nauseating numbers to even contemplate. Well, and just to be clear, Rosa, just so the people them understand, like you do this on your own. You are a one woman band trying to track and compile this data and this information. That's right? Is that correct?
Yes, actually, I do have. There's a young lady who runs my Instagram. I run the Facebook and Twitter. I collect the data and everything, and then we just disperse it out into the ether.
Is there any way that people can support you? Do you have support channels open, or we still trying to figure that out?
I do have a GoFundMe. I'm raising money for the march.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go my on my Twitter, my
Mm-hmm.
GoFundMe is there. Or actually, you can just put in Black femicide into the GoFundMe search, and it'll come up.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Well, Rosa, I want to thank you again for making some time to join us and share this critical information with us. Gang, we have been speaking with Rosa Page. Rosa is the founder and independent researcher of Black Femicide at Black Femicide USA. You can find her on Twitter at Black Femicide US. Rosa, we look forward to the march, and we absolutely look forward to having you again here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We appreciate you joining us this evening.
Oh, I appreciate you, and I look forward to coming back. And I do want to say this: stay safe this weekend. Holiday time is usually when a lot of violence occurs. So stay safe this weekend. Just keep your head on a swivel.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice there, Rosa. Thank you again. We appreciate you joining us.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fire fam, you guys are amazing. I'm sorry. I saw that the chat was chatting quite a bit, and I still see it chatting quite a bit. Hi, Ursula. Hey, Donnie. What's up, Laura? Hey, Court. I saw you in here. Lady K. Mosley, thank you for your super chat support. Hold on. Hold on. Did somebody say, is there a birthday? Is there a birthday in the house? Is today Latif's birthday? You Cancer, you July baby. Happy birthday to Latif, one of our mods, one of our amazing, excellent mods. And beyond being a mod, Latif is a supporter of this channel, of this platform. He is a patron. Latif does the damn thing. So happy birthday, sweetie. Happy birthday to Latif. And thank you all so much. Comrade Kwame, thank you so much for your comments and your engagement. Talisha Conklin, thank you for having Rosa come on here. Talisha is the reason Rosa is here. Talisha's been messaging me and letting me know, like, hey, this black woman is compiling this information about Black femicide. I think this is something you need to get behind. I said, yep, Talisha, you are correct. So thank you, Talisha. What's up, Tim? Who else we got in here? Rosalba, que pasa, mami? Infinite Content, thank you guys so much, Franny Francais. Oh, look at me. I'm running the broadcast like a big girl all by myself. Really quick, gang. I want to have Rosa on again because I hope you guys understood what I was trying to accomplish, and what I guess by extension, we were trying to accomplish, because I see it in the BPM chat and even sometimes on the BPM comments. Like y'all, some fellas really think that I am big time. What is it? Is the word misanthrope that I really hate men? I do not hate the men. Okay, I hate trash men. I hate abusive men. I hate rapey men. I hate creepy men. Okay, and if the men do not fall into any of those categories, I don't hate you at all. I actually like you quite a bit. I actually like you quite a bit. Unless you are covering for or enabling any of the four aforementioned men in the trash categories that I just explained. So that is my thing here, guys. Like I'm not going to sweep shit under the rug. It has actually taken a long time for me to actually come out and say publicly that I have been a survivor of domestic violence. I didn't say shit about that shit for a long fucking time. But I am understanding that, number one, I'm not out here by myself. Number two, it could be a lot worse because a lot of our sisters do not survive abusive relationships. And that is obvious by the numbers. And all I want the fellas to do is we have to come up with a system of checks and balances, okay? Because I've said it before, and y'all already know this is the position of this platform. The police don't keep us safe. The motherfucker who choked me and said he could kill me, I didn't even think about calling the police on his ass. For what? What the fuck was the police going to do, really? You know what I'm saying? So law enforcement is not the answer. The criminal injustice system is not the answer for us within our community. How are we going to have this system of accountability for those who are abusers? And gentlemen, I will even concede that can be a two-way street, because I won't deny that there are abusive women who are abusive to their partners, either in hetero relationships or in same-sex relationships, and shit, even women who are abusive to their children. I'm not here to sit here and act like women are perfect. Least of all that black women are perfect. You know what I'm saying? But what I am going to say is that it is disproportionate in the rates of intimate partner violence, men on women. Okay, those numbers, I don't even think that shit is even in dispute, right? We can concede that without a doubt, men are beating and killing women way more than women are beating and killing men. Yes. So this is what I want us to do. How the fuck can we stop this shit? How the fuck can we stop it? In 1 year, 1,800 sisters were murdered. Murdered. Okay. Not hit by cars, not accidentally fell off a cliff, were intentionally taken from this planet. Okay. Half of those were taken by people that they knew, which is again, a mind-boggling, and I know I said bottling, a mind-boggling statement to even think about, right? And because we live in the U.S., thank you so much, Jose, for your super chat again. I'm trying to figure out how to push all the buttons here and try to get your shit together. But because we live in the U.S., in a nation that has normalized violence, like you go other places, y'all, the rates of violence, the rates of shootings, the rates of not only femicide, but shit that we have now experienced as normal, school shootings, niggas shooting up the fucking grocery store, like that shit is regular here in the U.S. That shit is not regular around the world, okay? And we have to understand that we live in a sick place, okay? And we are not going to get better until we acknowledge the sicknesses even within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And I am here for those conversations, whatever they are, regarding about holding Black women accountable. And I find those conversations very interesting coming from the brubs. But I'm trying to be open-eared here, open-minded. You know what I'm saying? If brothers feel as though Black women need to be held accountable in some way, okay, you know what? I'll listen. I may not agree, but I will fucking listen, okay? I will listen. And I may not agree, but I'll listen. But the rates of intimate partner violence, the rates of domestic violence, y'all, these are shits that we can't ignore. You can't act like the white man made that shit up. No, I know too many survivors out here, okay? You're looking at one. I know too many others out here, okay? We not beating ourselves, okay? We not shooting ourselves. We're not strangling ourselves. Somebody is doing these things to us. And gentlemen, if you are not part of the trash collective, which there's no way you could be part of the trash collective and be over here in this chat. It's just not possible. But y'all gonna have to get in community and start figuring it the fuck out, how to set these fucking abusive bastards straight. And I know we actually talked about this on BPM this week. You know, who was it? It must have been, I think it was Jared. Talk about Africa Bambaataa, and how he was the gangster of the crew, even though everybody knew that he was a pedophile, right? Or an alleged pedophile. Let me cover my CYA here. An alleged pedophile, but nobody wanted to sit him down and confront him. Why? Because they were terrified of him, okay? We can't have that, fellas. We cannot have that. What I mean is, I can't check a man physically, okay? I'm unable to do it. If I am trying to get any sort of attention brought to a man's behavior, it is only going to be by my Twitter fingers or by the YouTube or whatever the fuck. But in terms of physically making him stop being abusive to whomever, I am physically unable to do that. Most women are physically unable to do that. You as men, Oh, you as men, you got the man's strength to match his man's strength, okay? And I don't know how I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's a fucking y'all roll as a squad and roll up on niggas' houses. I don't know if you approach a nigga coming out of work. I don't know what the shit looks like, but it has to look like something, okay? Because only men can hold other men, especially abusive men, accountable. And I realize that, okay? And I have to big up all the men who are fathers, brothers, uncles, grandfathers who have and will again become confrontational with a man who is abusing women in their family. But I need you guys to know this, okay? Not every woman has that. Okay, not every woman has a male support system, familial male support system that they can rely upon. Not everybody has a brother that they can call to go fuck up their boyfriend because their boyfriend smacked them. Okay, so where does the community fill this void? Where does the community fill in this gap? And this is where I think we have to get to the point of community organizing. And this is where I want to hear from more organizations. Like, what is the strategy? Like, if we in community and we are organizing as a community and trying to address shit that's going on in our community specifically. Thank you, Infinite Content. Hold on. Oh, yeah. R. Kelly got 30 years. Yep. As I had tried to explain it to me, Kim. Niggas, why punch when you can squeeze? Hey! Listen, R. Kelly, a perfect example. Somebody who was allowed to continue to be abusive for decades and nobody did shit. Nobody said shit until women stood up and said, you know what, enough is enough. But not enough motherfuckers yoked him up, very obviously. And this is why we get so frustrated as Black women, because it's like, don't y'all love us? Like, y'all claim to love us. Y'all say that we are the most unprotected in the world. Then why aren't y'all protecting us? You know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't y'all protecting us? Why aren't y'all protecting us? That's it. That's the tweet. That's the post. That's it. That's the show. I'm gonna hop off here, y'all. My head is hurting. I don't see. We need Tunde back. Tunde, y'all done gave Tunde an idea about a fucking union, and you know what? I'm mad at all y'all. I'm just kidding. For y'all said Tunde need a union. Tunde said y'all right. Tunde said I'm going on fucking vacation. I said no, no vacation, please, for the love of God. Come back here, Tunde. Come back, because I can't push all these buttons because this shit's giving me a fucking headache. I don't even know how to end the goddamn stream. That's part of the reason why I'm still talking. So anyway, I think I see the end stream button in the horizon. But I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys so much for your super chat support. Thank you, Latif. Happy birthday again to Latif. Happy birthday to cancers. It's cancer season. It's cancer season. Oh shit. There's going to be a bunch of grumpy crabs out here with upset stomachs. I know how y'all cancers get down. I know how y'all get down. But anyway, also, guys, some reminders. Tuesday show, we are going to announce our first abortion fund support. We are going to start supporting an abortion fund on the ground. And I think Molly has selected one from Kentucky. That's her home state. And Kentucky is already on some fuck shit when it comes to these abortions and the trigger state, trigger laws and all that shit. Kentucky's on some nonsense. So Kentucky, I believe, is going to be the first destination for the Fire Fam support. So the channel here, we are going to donate $50. We're going to ask that y'all match us, not 50 per se, but I mean, if y'all got you got five on the abortion fund. And shout out to Black Power Media and Community Movement Builders who have also agreed to match us our $50 donation. And every month, ongoing, we are going to be donating to a different abortion fund, and we are going to be starting with the most abortion restrictive states that have been more impacted by this overturning of Roe versus Wade. So that's that announcement. Don't forget, second Monday in July. Don't ask me what day that is. The second Monday in July is going to be our next disability around the Fire Fam's disability support chat. Thank you so much to Anna Hart and Mama Lorraine for keeping this organized and going, so you guys can join us for that. That is going to be Monday, July 11th. Put that on your calendars. Also next week, hold on, I'm all over the place. I'm fucking up the calendar. Next week, next Tuesday, I will confirm with her, but I think she's confirmed. We're going to be joined with Dr. Amina. Dr. Amina has been on Black Power Media before. She's a counseling psychologist. And I reached out to her and asked her would she join the show because y'all, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't think I'm 100% on the up and up on the mental health perspective. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the world is burning. And apparently we seem to be in the last days and shit. I am kind of depressed about that shit. I have anxiety around that shit. And I'm certain that you all are dealing with your own version of mental fuckery surrounding all of the psychological shit that we are being exposed to in beyond the pandemic, which the pandemic is critical. But there's all kinds of shit happening in America right now and in the world. And how do you respond to that in a good, clear, mental, healthy state? Is that even possible? Can you avoid depression and anxiety in the state of the world right now? I'm not even sure if that's fucking possible. So Dr. Amin is going to join us on Tuesday the 5th to chat with us about that because I really could use some coping strategies, and she probably has some African specific shit. I don't mean to call it shit, Dr. Amina. I'm sorry. Some African specific guidance that we as Black people can take as ours. And of course, next Friday, the one and only Kalanji Jama Changa. Yes, from the Siafu movement. Yes, from the FTP movement. Kalanji Chong is going to be joining us on Burn It Down with Kim Brown next Friday, July 8th. So we got a great week in store for y'all next week. So thank you all so much for all of your support. Afra, I see you in here. Hello, baby. I have no idea how the fuck I did this tonight, but I did it. What's up, Spin Cycle Dragon? What's up, Comrade Kwame? Comrade Kwame said he got his plan B, 2 eyebrow raises as I slide a silk cloth against. You are funny. That's your plan B. I roll with that plan B, Comrade Kwame. Y'all are hilarious. Holly Horn, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Oh my God. Quaker Anarchist, thank you, baby. All right, y'all. My head is starting to hurt. I got a fucking headache, so I got to log the hell off. But anyway, thank you all so much. Don't forget, subscribe to all of our comrades out here, Black Power Media, Revolutionary Blackout Network, Savvy Sabs, the Bank Sisters, shout out to JB Font, you know what I mean? So big up to everybody. We appreciate y'all. I see you on the flip side. I don't think the outro is going to play. The stream is just going to end because I can't get too cute out here. I got to fucking do the basics. I cannot dribble and chew gum at the same time. So you guys have a very safe, happy, no, fuck the 4th of July weekend. Nah. I need y'all to be burning flags. I need y'all to be burning fucking American flags this weekend. And I want to see video. Because I intend to locate me an American flag. It may not be one of the big joints, but it might be the little joint on the stick. I'm gonna burn the shit out that fucking flag this weekend. You better believe it. And I will definitely be sure to video it and share it with the people them, so you all can see how the fuck I feel about 4th of July, and I would imagine that you all feel similarly. But lest we not forget, COVID and monkeypox is out here jumping on people. I do not want it to jump on you. Please mask indoors, wash your hands, mask indoors, social distance. God damn, social distance, y'all. This shit is crazy. On behalf of Tunde and Molly, we love you guys to pieces. See y'all later. Bye. End stream. End stream. Okay. End stream. Is it ending the stream? Jesus help me, God. Oh my God.